Who was Adi Shankara's first disciple? His name was Sanandana or Padmapada, and through him, Adi Shankara had the darshan of Narsimha avatar, the avatar of Mahavishnu. So in the next few minutes, let's see the story. Namaste everyone, welcome back to Zesty Nimbu. This is Sri Rekha. In this video today, let's see the story of Padmapada and how he transforms himself into Narsimha to save Adi Shankara. So a boy was born to a Brahmin called Vimala on the banks of Kaveri. This boy in his teens itself mastered the Vedas and he showed extreme displeasure to the worldly affairs. He wanted to search for a guru who would take him through this ocean of samsara. So he refused to marry and he went in the search of his guru. Luckily, Shankar Bhagavad was in Kashi, who was expounding his bhashyas at that time, and when this boy saw his guru, he fell at his feet. Shankaracharya accepted him as his disciple after seeing the Brahma Tejas around him, and he named him Sanandana. One fine day when Shankaracharya was traveling with his disciples were left on the other side of Ganga and Shankaracharya was on the other bank. So he called his disciples over to this bank. There was no boat around and all the disciples were thinking, how do we cross that river? But Sanandana was so confident that his guru would take care of him, started walking across the river. The miracle was Ganga, seeing the extreme devotion of Sanandana to his guru, placed lotuses under his feet, and by the help of these lotuses, he was able to cross the bank from one bank to another bank of Ganga. So that is why he was renamed as Padmapada by Adi Shankara. So this is how Sanandana got his name as Padmapada. One day a Kapalika, a devotee of Bhairava, came to the Acharya and he took advantage of the nobility of the Acharya and requested for Acharya's head for his own penance. So he wanted to give the head of Acharya as an offering to his god Bhairava. So the Acharya willingly consented. He told the Kapalika that I will be in Samadhi, then you can cut off my head, but make sure none of my disciples are around, especially Padmapada. So a day and time was arranged and both of them met. All the disciples of Shankara Bhagavad were doing their chores and were not around him. And Shankara sits at a place and goes into Samadhi. The Kapalika comes near Shankara dressed in bones around his neck, having an eye here like Shiva. And then he was looking extremely evil. He had a Trishul in his hand, trident. So he comes near Adi Shankara and lifts his sword to take off his head. But Padmapada intuitively grasps that there is something wrong, there is a nefarious design, there is some evil which has befallen his guru. And he sees all this happening in front of his mind's eye. So he prays to Narsimha and he is transformed into that Narsimha avatar, and with one jump he just goes towards Adi Shankara and kills that Kapalika. The avatar of Narsimha came into his being of Padmapada after he prayed to Narsimha, due to which he was able to save his guru. At that point in time, to calm Padmapada, who was in the Narsimha avatar, to calm him down, Adi Shankara recites Lakshmi Narsimha Kalavalambam, the stotram at that instant itself. He prays to Narsimha to calm down and come out of Padmapada's body. That way Padmapada comes back to his original form. And then everybody is surprised, asks him how did he manage to do this. Padmapada says when he was in his teenage, he went into a forest and was rigorously doing penance on Narasimha. And one day a hunter comes and tells him, what are you doing here? He says, I'm searching for a man lion, a man having a head of a lion. The hunter confidently says, I am here, I have always lived in this forest and there is no animal like that. But then Padmapada asserts, saying that this is how he looks, and tells him the exact description of how Narsimha looks. Then the hunter says, I will go and find out for you that creature and I will get him to you. If not, I will end my life. I will commit suicide. The whole day, the next day, the hunter searches for that animal, that creature, but he is not able to find him. The moment he tries to take his life, Narsimha is satisfied with his devotion and he comes in front of him. Once the hunter sees Narsimha in front of him, he captures him with vines. So the lata which are there on the trees, he captures him with those vines and brings him to Padmapada. Padmapada is surprised and he asks Narsimha, how is that I have been, meditating on you for such a long time, but you never came, but you came for this hunter. You showed him your actual roop. Narsimha says, this is because none of even Brahma has never thought of me like the way the hunter thought. Each living movement of his past 2 days were on me, saying, I want to find this creature. and hence I came in front of him. And Narsimha blesses Padmapada and says, anytime you require my presence, just have to pray to me and I'll come there. So this is the story as told by Padmapada to his co-disciples and how he saved Adi Shankara. Similarly, there is another instance where Adi Shankara's body was put on a funeral pyre by the soldiers of a kingdom called Amruka. And at that point in time as well, when almost half his legs and hands were burnt in the fire, Adi Shankara prays to Narasimha by again invoking the Lakshmi Narasimha Stotra, after which he comes out without any scratch from the fire. So this is another instance. That story is basically when he has a debate with Ubhaya Bharati, who was the wife of Mandan Mishra. I have spoken about that story in my previous video on Adi Shankara, the debate with Mandan Mishra. So you can go ahead and check it out. So this is your 5-minute Gyan for the day. I hope you have liked today's video. The question of the day is, the actual Narsimha avatar Mahavishnu takes, whom did he kill and in which yuga? So put your answers in the comment section. Also, the Rishi of the week is Sanat Kumar. So do a little research and find out and tell me who this great Sanat Kumar was. So I'll look forward to your answers and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, namaste.